Hey, Lives Math Industry, and we are going to be finding the clues to learn about what deduction is. So, when you think of the word deduction, you might be thinking of like a mystery and try to solve it, or a crime scene or something like that. Well, that is basically what is going to happen. And that is basically what real-world deduction is. That's usually conducted by the FBI and the police force. But in mathematical terms, deduction is one of the skills that you might be needing to learn when it comes to advanced math classes or higher level math. So, there are things that we are going to look at when it comes to deduction. It has a lot of logical reasoning, but a simpler way is there's a story that happens. There are clues that can give evidence of what actually happened in the story. So that's why you gotta logical think. You gotta think about the clues and also think how it can get evidence, how it can give you evidence. So what we're gonna do is use deduction or deduct it in our story. So here is the story. Okay, so you are a pharmacist working at a Chinese pharmacy in the Song Dynasty. A man who is named Gao Kaosheng walks up to you and says that he is a problem and he wants you to prescribe him with medicine. The thing is, he's trying to study for an imperial exam, but forgets everything when he makes lunch. This makes him very anxious and very nervous about the exam. So, here are the clues, because that was the story. For the prescription of the medicine, there are 4 available clues. A. It is a total number of 17 herbs. B. The number of one type of herb is 6. C. One herb is Ganoderma. And D. The number of Ganoderma is the least. So we get to use those 4 clues to find out what the evidence is. Let's look at the clues. One herb is Ganoderma, so we can definitely say that Ganoderma is at least one of the herbs. Another thing that we can take a look at is going back to the patient's backstory. When Gao Kaosheng explained to us about what his problems is and how he feels very nervous and how he feels very anxious, the thing is, in ancient China, being anxious and being nervous relates to something. It is a mental health problem. And when it comes to mental health, it is called qi. So, in Chinese medicine or in Chinese healthcare, they say that qi is the amount of energy a person has so they can run themselves and power themselves. So, qi is a mental thing. That's why it says on the game that it can recover qi. So we are going to add some qi kind of herbs into the prescription. There's another thing we gotta be careful about. It has to equal 17 herbs. So, there are 3 herbs that we're gonna put in. We already know that 5 is one of them, or Ganoderma. It wants to equal 17. So we have to add that by a missing number plus another missing number. And that's gonna equal the 17. So you see how we're trying to critical think and use clues and detail to give us evidence? For example, when we talked about how ancient Chinese healthcare system talks about qi and it's a mental thing, being anxious and nervous can be a mental feeling. And when Yao Kaoshan feels that way, it makes him feel this way. And so you see how what we're trying to do in terms of critical thinking, using the clues to find evidence. So X and Y could be qi restoring herbs. Another thing that can be helpful when it comes to deduction is assuming the what happens events. Like, we're going to assume that X and Y could be the quantity of qi restoring herbs, but we don't know if it's actually true. But if we take a look at D, clue D, the number of Ganoderma is the least. So that can say that the two numbers for X and Y that are the sum have to be larger than 5, but is equal to 17. So from the video we just showed you, what I did is I put 7 and 5 into X and Y. But the problem is it doesn't equal 17. That equals 18. So we have added wrong. When you deduct something, it's okay to change your clues. Well, not the clues. It's okay to change your logical reasoning to get new evidence. So, 5 plus 7 plus 5 does not equal 17. So we can say that this is false. However, when we said that the number of Ganoderma is the least, we can change Ganoderma to a smaller number that will bring us to 17. The reason why I put 5 there is because I assumed it was 5. And I thought, if I could add this, then I could add on a bit later. So we're going to put Ganoderma as a quantity as 4. It doesn't matter what the number is, but it has to be the smallest number. Not only that, one of the herbs in clue B have to be 6. So it can't be 5, 5, 7. One of them has to be 6. And 6, 4 is already covered. I'm going to add that 7 and add that by 6. 4 plus 7 will become 11 plus 6 equals 17. So we can say that we can have 4 as the number of Ganoderma plus 7 and 6 as the other two qi restoring herbs. That will be 17. Let's see what happens. Oh, and I accidentally added wrong, so this was the one that I used, but I realized my mistake, so I wanted to do this one. Let's see what happens. So, based on the video, we got a score of 97 because the patient has been cured and his health has increased to 97%. This combination 4 plus 7 plus 6 equals 17 works with all the clues because they all fit, and it equals to 17. One type of herb is 6, one herb is Ganoderma, which is that 4, and the number of Ganoderma is the least. So, if we didn't add it wrong and we actually retry and put this in, we would make the patient, or Gao Kaoshang, get to 100% recovered health. And that is an example how we can use deduction in the real life. Deduction can be used to solve things, but as you go on to solve it, you get to build onto your ideas and assume new things and to claim new theories. I hope this video has helped you. Thank you for watching Top Airlines Math Industry. Like and subscribe.